All right, let's start by building a pagination component. Now, similar to the like component that we built in the last section, we want this component to be completely decoupled from movies, so we can reuse it in multiple places. So here in the common folder, let's add a new file, pagination.jsx. Now this time I'm going to start with a stateless functional component because based on the experience, I have this feeling here we're not going to have any local state and we can pass all the data that this component needs via props. So on the top, imr to import React, and then sfc to create the component. Let's call it pagination and pass props here. For now, I don't want to return anything, so let's return null. We'll come back to this shortly. Now, whenever you want to build a reusable component, before implementing that, you should think about the interface of that component. What are the inputs that component is going to receive? What are the events it's going to raise? The best way to decide the interface of a component is to use it before implementing it. So let's go to our movies component. This is where we're going to use our new pagination component. So on the top, let's import it. Import pagination from common/pagination module. Now down the bottom here in the render method, after our table of movies, this is where we're going to use the pagination component. Now let's see what inputs we need to give to this component. I believe at a minimum, we need to give this component the total number of items as well as the page size. Based on this information, this component can calculate the number of pages and render them. So items count, we set this to this, that state, that movies, that length. But actually earlier, we used object destructuring in this method. We extracted the length property and renamed it to count. So let's simplify this expression to count. We should also pass page size. We can hardcode a value here, but as you will find out shortly, we're going to use this value in multiple places, so it's better to store it in the state. So we set this to this, that state, that page size. Now on the top, let's initialize this property. So here's the state. Let's add page size and set it to 4. So with 4 movies on each page, I want to make sure our pagination renders 3 pages. So these are the inputs of this component, but this component should also raise an event whenever the user clicks on a new page. We can call that event onPageChange and set it to a method like this that handle page change. Now let's implement this method. So here, this is where we are implementing all our event handlers. Let's add handle page change. This method should receive the new page number. So page goes to, for now, let's just do a console.log of page. All right, back to our pagination component. So we have determined the interface for this component. Next, we'll implement this component.